So, for a bit of context, on multiple occasions, we have talked about our intimacy desires, what we are into, the kind of intimacy videos we like to watch, and there is never really any jealousy or judgment. Checking out girls together is something that happens often with us. I'm bisexual. He and I have also talked about my past and what I had been through with my ex, who was an hurtful, sociopathic creep who cheated on me countless times. Anyway, I was trying to send my husband a video while he was asleep, and it wasn't going through. This had been happening a lot lately. I got frustrated and wanted to see if it had actually gone through or if my phone was just being weird. As I went to our messages, I saw that he had someone on mute. I'm not normally one to snoop through my partner's phone, despite my past. I like to have trust and allow my partners to have privacy. I was interested when I saw it was a girl that he's told me he had a fling with. Going through the messages, I saw he was flirting, asking to meet up to catch up and pick up where they left off. Just talking in a way I have never heard from him before. It's almost all one-sided too. He's literally being a pest. Starting to get angry and having that ugly feeling in my stomach, I decided to move on and see what else he has been up to. Going through all of the apps where you can message people, I saw that he's not only doing this with her, but with so many other women. Like I said, speaking in a way I've never heard from him, "Damn girl, you look fine as heck here. What I would do to get just one night with you." This well-rounded, well-spoken, and polite man that I thought I had married is... At this point, my post-traumatic stress disorder is through the roof, and I'm going full detective. Finding chats, pictures, videos, screenshots, files, everything you can think of. He has got it. Finally, I saw that he has Telegram hidden in a slide on its own in his home screen. I opened it and saw only one contact. Reading their messages made my stomach turn. He and this guy are sending each other explicit pictures and videos of girls from their hometown that they went to high school with, saying the most vile and disgusting things about their looks and what they would do with them. Again, my husband is speaking in a way I have never heard or seen. He is talking the same way my ex did. The same way this man has ridiculed and has said how gross and objectifying it is. I took pictures of everything I found and got ready to wake this man up with a hammer fist when I convinced myself that violence is not the answer. I decided to leave every app open with this material on it, so that way he knows that I know. Eventually, I lay down and forced myself to go to sleep. About 2 hours later, I got woken up by a loud sigh and an "I'm sorry." At this point, I didn't want to talk to him, look at him, or be near him at all, so I tried my best to ignore him while he cried. If you can't tell already, I am in an extreme numb manic state that is only allowing me to feel anger. He stumbled through telling me that he has an addiction and he doesn't know why he does it and blah 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 blah. Literally giving me the same excuses he's heard me say my ex had. I told him exactly that, and he said that it's not the same, and he isn't him. He then asked me if I would react the same way if he was a drug addict. Bro, what? Anyway, I told him that what he was doing was definitely not okay, and I told myself I wouldn't deal with something like this again. I want to stick to that, but despite all my anger, I really do love him, and we have been through so much together. I don't want to throw an almost 7-year relationship away. He's also never done anything crazy before that I know of. He's suggesting therapy for him and for us. Like I said before, we are always very open with each other, and I feel like if he had a problem, he would have told me about it and asked for help. Maybe something like that is too shameful. Should I go through with the therapy and try to work it out? We've literally only been married for 6 months. Almost forgot. Sorry for me being so dramatic with my storytelling. And also, if there are typos, this is my first post like this, and I am so angry and confused, I just wanted to make sure I got across how I feel. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You are so young, and 7 years isn't that much compared to the rest of your life. Mark this down to, it was good while it lasted, and end it now. This is a man who has been lying to you for years. That's not an addiction. That's just him being selfish and uncaring about your feelings and mental health. There are plenty of men who do not act like he does. I hope you find one sooner rather than later. Comment 2. Your husband is distributing non-consensual intimacy videos, also known as revenge porn. It is an intimacy crime punishable by time in prison, depending on what state you live in. Please do whatever you can to secure any photos or videos of yourself that you've shared with him and get out of there as safely as you can. I would also notify his other victims if possible. They have a right to know. Now, for the update. It's been almost 2 days since I confronted my husband about the messages. I'm still at my sister's place, just trying to clear my head. She noticed I seemed off yesterday and kept asking if everything was okay. I kept brushing it off, saying I just needed some space. Honestly, I didn't want to talk about it. I was getting his texts over and over, like an apology playlist on repeat, begging me to come home. I ignored all of it, trying to focus on anything else. This morning, I got a call from my mom inviting me to a family dinner. Apparently, it was meant to celebrate my brother Jake's recent promotion at work. My mom was excited, saying my husband should come too. I hesitated, but ultimately agreed to go. I thought it might help make things feel normal, you know? Just a regular family dinner, no drama. My sister picked me up, and on the way there, she kept asking if I was sure about my husband. I just told her I didn't want to talk about it. When we got to my parents' house, my dad opened a bottle of wine and everyone toasted to Jake's success. The atmosphere was light, filled with laughter and food. It felt good to be around family, even if I felt a little out of place. During dinner, my dad brought up how proud he was of everyone. He asked about my marriage and if we were thinking about kids yet. Jake and Rachel shared their plans for starting a family soon, and I just sat there, pushing my food around on my plate. Then the conversation got serious as my dad talked about his marriage struggles. Everyone listened closely, but I felt like I was in a different world. As dessert was served, my husband texted me again, asking if I was coming home. I glanced at my phone but didn't respond. My mom noticed I was distracted and asked if I was okay. I just said I was tired from the long week. After dinner, my sister suggested we take a walk outside to cool off. While we were walking, I got a shocking text from a mutual friend. She mentioned seeing my husband at a bar with another woman. My heart raced as I read the message. I didn't know how to process it. I tried to shake it off, thinking it must be a misunderstanding or something. After the walk, I returned to the dinner table. My husband called again, demanding to know why I wasn't responding. I told him I was with family and would talk to him later. He insisted on coming over to discuss things in person. I agreed, but felt the tension rising. After dinner, my sister drove me home. She was worried about me, and I could tell. My husband was already waiting in the living room when we arrived. He looked anxious and started to speak, but I cut him off. I just threw the text from our friend at him. He denied everything, saying it was a misunderstanding and he had been at home. I pulled out my phone to show my sister the message, but before I could, my husband grabbed my phone and threw it on the couch. Then things got heated, and my sister had to step in, telling him to calm down. He ended up storming out, slamming the door behind him. My sister and I were left there in shock. After that, I told my sister I was going to confront him about the bar incident directly. She agreed to support me in whatever way I needed. We sat down to plan how to approach the situation. Possible future update. If anything crazy happens, I'll make sure to update. I'm just trying to get through this right now, and I know I probably shouldn't confront him alone, but I just can't keep putting it off. I need to know the truth, even if it's something I really don't want to hear. My sister's on board to help me out, so I guess we'll figure it out together. I just hope whatever this is, it doesn't completely blow up my life. To answer a few questions, my sister has been really supportive through this all, offering to help however I need. I have also been talking to a close friend from college about everything, and she's been a great source of comfort. My husband and I didn't have any kids yet, which made this decision a bit easier. As for the bar incident, my husband still denies it completely, and it's been a challenge to get him to be honest about anything lately. Am I the idiot for refusing to cut off my friend because my jealous boyfriend demanded it? My boyfriend, who is 25 years old, and I, who am also 25 years old, have been together for 6 years, and I am his first girlfriend. We share a co-ed friend group, and we also go on double dates with different couples, or I have my own girlfriends I hang out with too. In the friend group, I have been friends with a guy named Jay for 7 years. I consider Jay strictly a friend, and we have not once thought of each other romantically. I also consider the other friends, both the guys and girls, equally close as well. My boyfriend wants me to cut off Jay because he has cut off someone for me in the past, named B, who is 23 years old, but I did not ask him to cut her off or insinuate that he should. B used to tell me that she knows my boyfriend better than I do, make remarks about what gifts I was buying him, and message him TikToks privately. She also says he can invite me to hangouts if I want. B is not in that friend group. We are both individually friends with her. I expressed my discomfort with her and that she was causing insecurities, but I also said that I wanted to deal with it on my own and still continue the friendship. He said that, out of respect for me, he cut her off. I don't believe in asking people to cut others off unless absolutely necessary. She was just being a pick-me, and honestly, I can handle that after processing it in my own time. The thing is, Jay doesn't make remarks like that. He doesn't exclude my boyfriend or fail to extend an invite. He doesn't secretly message me TikTok links or try to spend time alone together. He doesn't flirt with me, and I don't flirt with him. My boyfriend acknowledges this, but says that because I don't want to cut him off, that's why it matters that I should. We've communicated multiple times that I don't think cutting people off is healthy, but he says it's out of principle. Is there a way I can alleviate his insecurities? I don't want the classic breakup. I want to at least try to resolve this first. Thank you in advance. To add, I can see the comments but will reply to them after my shift. Thank you for your feedback. I am going to continue to communicate with him about what's going on. I asked him if there were times he felt uncomfortable with the way Jay acted around me or talked to him privately, and he said no. He said that my unwillingness to cut him off is the weird behavior because, out of respect for me, he cut the girl out. However, I said that wasn't what I wanted at all, nor did I imply that it would be nice. I don't really mind that he has girlfriends. He has a few that he'll catch up with from time to time, and none of the other girlfriends have made weird comments or made me feel insecure. I asked for some time to set my own boundaries with her so that I do not put myself in a situation where she can make comments to me, or I don't really want to care about it, to be honest. He has not tried to isolate me from anyone else, so I am going to keep pressing if there is something I know that he doesn't. My boyfriend tries his best to meet me where I'm at, so I want to meet him where he is at too. I just don't want to cut anyone off, regardless of gender, unless it is absolutely necessary. If it is, I will do it, but I don't want to enable this behavior. I know that Jay doesn't harbor secret feelings for me, nor is he waiting to be out of the friend zone. Jay really likes my boyfriend and always asks when he's going to propose so he can attend a fun wedding. I wanted to provide more information as people have brought up valid points, and I want to be as receptive to feedback as possible. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You should never cut off friends just because your partner tells you to. That's controlling behavior that can very easily lead to your partner attempting to isolate you. You cut off friends because they've disrespected your relationship. Jay hasn't disrespected your relationship. Jay is just existing. It's hard to alleviate his insecurities if he won't be honest about what those insecurities are. Usually, I would recommend just reassuring him that you love him, that you value your relationship, and would never think of doing anything to jeopardize it, as well as clarifying the boundaries you have in place with the person he is concerned about. But the fact he's stuck on, "You should cut him off because I say so," is kind of shutting down any possibility of a deeper conversation about the source of his feelings, and as such, any possibility of them being resolved. Unless he's willing to open up here, I'm not sure what more you can do. Comment 2. So you felt insecure about a girl he knew, and he respected that as a boundary and avoided her, removing her from the equation because he respected your opinion and the relationship. Then, when he's insecure about a guy, you ignore that and just want him to get over it. Just a fact. Also, guys act and talk differently when women are not around. It could be that he's made a comment, or your boyfriend overheard something he wasn't supposed to. Hell, a lot of times men see flirting that women don't because they're used to watching guys do it. A girl who is a friend will often overlook small indiscretions and flirting as being friendly. Just because you have no interest in Jay doesn't mean he feels the same way. Countless men have stood in the friend zone waiting for a moment of weakness in a woman's relationship so they can slip in. Now, for the update. 3 weeks after my last post, I got a text from Jay asking to meet up for coffee. I told my boyfriend about it, and he got all tense and asked why I needed to see him. I reassured him that it was just going to be a friendly catch-up, nothing major. We agreed that I would meet Jay at this local coffee shop, which is our usual spot. So, on the day we were supposed to meet up, my boyfriend insisted on coming with me. I hesitated at first, but ultimately agreed, hoping it would ease his concerns. At the coffee shop, Jay greeted us both warmly, but my boyfriend was just all standoffish. Like, Jay was trying to be friendly, and my boyfriend was acting like he was doing Jay a favor by being there. During our conversation, my boyfriend interrupted us all the time, trying to dominate the discussion. Jay was trying to include him in the conversation, but my boyfriend kept bringing up past incidents between Jay and me. It was just so awkward. I was uncomfortable, and I could feel the tension in the air. After a while, my boyfriend accused Jay of trying to undermine our relationship. Jay looked taken aback and didn't know how to respond at first. That created this super awkward silence. So, after the meeting, my boyfriend insisted that we need to talk about boundaries again. I suggested that we should focus on trust instead, hoping it would shift the conversation a bit. We went back to my apartment, and that's when things got really weird. My boyfriend started going through my phone without asking. I confronted him about it because that's a huge invasion of privacy, but he just dismissed my concerns like they were nothing. He insisted that he needed to know who I was talking to, especially Jay. I felt so disrespected, like he didn't even care about my privacy. Days passed, and my boyfriend kept bringing up Jay, which was just causing more issues at home. During a family dinner at my parents' house, my mom asked how my relationship was going. My boyfriend launched into this rant about how he felt disrespected by my friendship with Jay. My family was just exchanging awkward glances, totally unsure how to react. My younger sister, who was there too, tried to lighten the mood, but it just fell flat. After dinner, I confronted my boyfriend outside and asked him why he couldn't let it go. He accused me of choosing Jay over him and said I didn't care about his feelings. I felt cornered, so I pointed out that he was the one creating the divide, not me. He stormed off, leaving me standing there in the driveway, feeling frustrated and alone. A few days later, my boyfriend texted me saying he needed some space to think. We didn't talk much for a week, and things just kept getting more and more tense. I decided to reach out to Jay for some support, just to vent about everything going on. Jay invited me over to his place for dinner, and I accepted because I really needed to talk to someone about all this. At Jay's place, we talked openly about our friendship and my boyfriend's behavior. It felt good to just let it all out and talk to someone who understood. The next day, my boyfriend showed up unexpectedly at my apartment. He saw me with Jay's takeout container and jumped to conclusions, like usual. He accused me of betraying him and demanded an explanation. I tried to explain, but the conversation just spiraled out of control. He ended up breaking up with me on the spot, claiming he couldn't trust me. I was left standing there in shock, feeling so confused. I realized then that our relationship had basically fallen apart, and I was just at a loss for what to do next. Edit: I initially thought a break would help, but it didn't. After a week of no contact, he reached out and we met to talk. He apologized for how he ended things, but said he couldn't trust me. I realized how much his jealousy had affected us. I told him I needed space to think, and we both agreed to end things for good. It's been tough, but I'm focusing on myself and hopefully moving forward. Am I the idiot for refusing to chase after my girlfriend who prioritized her platonic friend over our relationship? I, a 30-year-old man, have an issue with my girlfriend, a 30-year-old woman, and we have been together for a year now. When we started dating, she told me very early on that she loved me within 2 weeks. After a few days, she told me that she was going to visit a close male friend in Turkey and would sleep in his house. I wasn't comfortable with it, and I told her that. She wanted a serious relationship, and when I expressed my concerns about her sleeping in his house, she said it was too early in a relationship for her to let me decide those things, and she already had a plan before she met me. She didn't have a ticket yet, but then she booked the ticket and eventually went there. Now, I trust her when she says that they didn't do anything or that they're platonic. However, every time she visits, that other guy invites a lot of friends, including some more guys who hit on her, some of whom she has had intimacy with in the past or made out with. This friend of hers doesn't want to have a family, serious relationship, or children, which is fine for him, but she wants to have a family, children, and a serious relationship. Now, we have been dating for a year and have never come to a conclusion. She portrays that this guy is a significant part of her life, and she wants to see him often. She told me that I could come with her if I wanted to. I am not comfortable with going there and seeing random men in another country and hanging out in a situation where I feel uneasy, knowing all the things she has been doing there while on vacation. To add, for everyone responding with kind replies and understanding, as well as for those calling me controlling, I have told her that her friend can come and visit us at our place, and I would be happy to accommodate him. But she says it's harder for him to come because of money and visa issues. She knows that I also need a visa to go to Turkey, so it's acceptable for her to ask me to go there where I feel uncomfortable being in that situation because of certain people. But her friend cannot do the same. Is his money and time worth more than mine? Ticket prices are the same for both of us, and we both need visas to go to each other's countries. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Make the choice for her. I'm sorry, honey. I thought I could handle this, but I just can't. It disturbs me that you can't see my side of things. What if I told you I was going to stay with some girl you didn't know in another country? What would you say if I told you I was out partying with former lovers while there? You wouldn't have a problem with that? Really? I think you're being disingenuous. I'm happy with the time we've spent together, and I'll miss you terribly. However, the thing I want most out of a relationship is peace. You don't give me peace, so I can't see this relationship progressing any further. Good luck to you, and goodbye. Then after all the drama and waterworks and she leaves, block her on everything. Delete all her texts. Block her phone number and email. Comment 2. I'm with you on this one. I would also be uncomfortable with it. You cannot prohibit her from anything, so I would suggest you get to know the friend, maybe through a video call. Sometimes our fantasy can run wild, and it calms down when we get to know the other person. Also, ask her if she would be okay if you did the same. Establish some boundaries together that work for both of you. Now, for the update. Emily got back from Turkey a few days later and started acting weird. We were watching a movie, and she just sat there scrolling through her phone. I asked how her trip went, and she said it was fun but exhausting and didn't really say much else. I noticed she got a bunch of texts while we were watching the movie, but she didn't say who they were from. It was kinda odd, but I didn't want to pry. Later that evening, while she was in the shower, I saw a notification from a messaging app on her phone. I know I shouldn't have, but I opened it. It was from her friend Ali, and the messages were just filled with emojis. And not just any emojis, but flirty ones. I closed the app right away because I just felt really uneasy. I knew I had to talk to her about it. The next evening, we went to our favorite Italian place, and I just had to ask her about her friendship with Ali. She laughed it off and said I was being ridiculous. She claims Ali is just a good friend, but it didn't feel like that to me. I told her the messages seemed more than friendly, and it got real tense at our table. She rolled her eyes and said I didn't trust her, which made me defensive. She got mad when I told her how unfair it felt for her to always be with Ali. She said I was overreacting and that she needed her own space. We left the restaurant without even finishing our meals. A week later, my sister invited me to a family barbecue for the 4th of July. Emily said she'd come with me, but she had to text Ali first. During the barbecue, my brother made a toast about loyalty in relationships. Emily laughed, but then quickly glanced at her phone, texting under the table. I noticed and felt annoyed again, thinking about her and Ali. Later on, I caught her laughing at something on her phone and asked what was so funny. She said it was just a meme, and I got a weird vibe from that. After the barbecue, I needed to clear my head, so I went for a walk alone. I ran into a neighbor who mentioned seeing Emily at a local cafe with Ali last week. She said they looked really comfortable, laughing over coffee, and I just felt my stomach drop. I went home and confronted Emily again. I asked what else she was hiding, and she got defensive, saying I was spying on her. In the heat of the moment, she finally admitted she'd been spending way more time with Ali than she let on. I felt like I needed to take control, so I called a family meeting at my apartment and framed it as a way to bond over a game night. My parents and siblings came over, and during the meeting, I casually mentioned how Emily had been distant and spending time with Ali. My family was shocked. My sister encouraged me to stand up for myself, and I just felt empowered by their support. I decided to expose more of Emily's behavior, so I told my family about the flirty messages and what the neighbor said about the cafe. This led to a heated discussion about trust and boundaries in relationships. Emily got upset and tried to defend herself, but my family wasn't having it. She left in anger, saying she needed space to think. The next day, she texted me, saying she wanted to talk, but I ignored her. Instead, I focused on my own interests and reconnected with friends. Emily tried reaching out several times over the next week, but I stayed distant. Eventually, she sent one last message, saying she was done with the drama and moving on. Edit. Emily and I had a call a few weeks after she left, and she said she missed me and wants to fix things. However, I feel relieved and am not interested in going back. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.